Okaeri! Welcome back to my channel, May Between the Pages. My name is Taylor, and today we are going to be doing a Retro Reads BookTube challenge. This was inspired by a series that I read recently called The Remnant Chronicles. This is an older series that started in 2015. The first book was released in 2015, and I mentioned in previous videos, I went into them looking for a light, kind of nostalgic YA read. I thought it would be maybe 3 stars, but those books blew me away. I loved everything about them, and it was a wonderful, pleasant surprise. And so that got me thinking, what if there are a bunch of other older books that I haven't read that are also hidden gems? And I joined BookTube just this week, and I discovered it about 2 years ago. So I missed a lot of the hyped reads and the hyped books from several years ago, and I haven't read them. I made a list of really hyped books from YouTube that all are from 2015 or before. So I'm not allowed to read any books that are within the last 5 years. So I made a list of books from that time period, from before that time period, that were really hyped on BookTube. So I'm sure I've missed a couple, but I was doing just some research on BookTube, and these are the ones that popped up a lot. Some of them I'm actually interested in reading, some of them not so much, but because I kind of want to push myself and maybe discover some hidden gems that I wouldn't normally reach for, I've put some other books that I might not be drawn towards into the mix as well. I've written all of these books down along with the authors on little pieces of paper, and my goal is every month I'm going to pull one of these from my Harry Potter mug over here, and I'm going to read that book that month. So I'm going to go through the books that I wrote down just to give you an idea of what I'll be possibly picking up. The first one is Fangirl from 2013 by Rainbow Rowell. Now I know this is a BookTube sweetheart. It's a BookTube baby, this book. It's everyone's favorite child, but the synopsis has never pulled me in. I've never read a Rainbow Rowell book, and I'm just not a big contemporary person. But I figure if I'm gonna give myself a chance to read it, now would be the time, so it's going in the cup. Number 2 is Illuminae from 2015 by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. Now I read Nevernight by Jay Kristoff this year, and it's one of my top 5 series of all time. I love everything about that series. So I'm curious to read the other things that Jay Kristoff has written. I know this one is co-authored with Amy Kaufman, but I'm really intrigued to read it, so this one I wouldn't be mad if I picked this up. Three is Uprooted by Naomi Novik from 2015. This one I am actually quite interested in. I've seen good reviews, people that hate it and people that really love it, so it seems to be quite polarizing. So we'll see where I fall for this one, but going in the cup. Number 4, The Vampire Diaries by L.J. Smith. What I actually wanted to say here was Vampire Academy by Rochelle Mead, released in 2007, not The Vampire Diaries. Whoops! But I've seen some of the show, and it's just a guilty pleasure, you know, guilty pleasure CW shows, judging no one for that, but I'm interested in the source material, so, and I haven't read a paranormal romance, especially with vampires, in a hot minute, so I wouldn't be mad if I picked this one up either. Number 5? Maybe we should just not count. The next one is Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. This was released in 2011 by Ransom Riggs. Again, this is another BookTube favorite child. I know a lot of people love this. I guess I don't really have a reason why I haven't picked it up. It's just never grabbed me, but I'm ambivalent. If it comes up, I'm cool with it. Next is the Lux series. So I think the first one is called Obsidian, and it was released in 2011 by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I know that this one is like trash level, what I've heard from other people, but lovable trash. And you know, I'm not upset about that. Like, I could fuck with that. So I'm down for lovable trash sometimes, so this could be really fun if this comes out of the cup. Next, The Unbecoming of Mara Dyer from 2011 by Michelle Hodgkin. This one I've heard a lot of vitriol for, and then a couple people seem to hold it close to their heart. But I know that it was big on BookTube, so I put this on the list. Again, trash level, but not as lovable as Lux from what I've heard. So we'll see. Then I have To All the Boys I've Loved Before, released in 2014 by Jenny Han. I know, haven't read it. Again, not a contemporary reader, so I don't reach for it, but I'm down for a cute love story sometimes, you know? Doesn't always have to be in the middle of a fantasy war or something. So I could really use some kind of fluffy reading, so hopefully this comes up. And then maybe I can understand what all of the hoopla is about. Hoopla. What am I, 70? Next, An Ember in the Ashes by Sabaa Tahir, released in 2015. This one I'm very interested to read. I've been intrigued by this for a long time, but I just haven't gotten my butt in a gear to pick it up. So this might be the motivation I need to just go for it. Next is Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda, released in 2015 by Becky Appertali. This one I know is even higher than Fangirl and the other BookTube faves. So I know that this one is like God tier for many people. And I love an LGBT story, considering I'm also part of that community. So I'm really looking forward to reading this. I hope this one pops up. Even though it's a contemporary, I'm really intrigued. And I think that the representation that the book provided is really important, and it really seemed to touch a lot of people and help them feel seen, and so I really want to know what's between those pages. Next is The Selection, released in 2012 by Kiera Cass. I've heard that this is people's favorite guilty pleasure read, so again, this would be fun to jump on just for funsies. I know that my local library in Japan actually does have this in the English section, so I would have direct access to it if it did pop up. Okay, we have 5 more, and the next one is The Red Queen, released in 2015 by Victoria Aveyard. I know that this gets hated on. People really do not like this book, as if it took all of the tropes from all of the books around its time and smashed them all together, is kind of what I've heard this described as. But it was really popular on BookTube, so I put it on this list. We'll see what I think. Next, The Darkest Minds by Alexandra Bracken, released in 2012. This one I know has quite a few fans still. And I have had it recommended to me from other fantasy readers in the past, so this one I don't have any negative background going into this, so we'll see if it comes up. The Name of the Wind from 2007 by Patrick Rothfuss. If you are a fantasy reader, you know this book. And as a fantasy reader, I'm ashamed to say, I have not read it. It's not because I haven't wanted to. I guess I just never did it. I have no excuse. I have no excuse. This is considered a staple of fantasy nowadays, and I know that he has written the second book, but the third one, like George R.R. Martin, leaving everyone hanging. No one knows when it's gonna come, if it's gonna come, and a lot of people don't like it. But I'm intrigued enough that I'm willing to start it, even though the end might never come. So that's in here as well. Divergent from 2011 by Veronica Roth. Now listen, I was spoiled for the end of this series because of rant reviews and how much people hated it. And I have a feeling that I'm going to hate the ending as well. But people love this first book, and I never read it, and I want to know if it will give me that nostalgic feeling from when it came out. So I want to give at least the first book a shot. If I like it, I might continue just to see if I hate the rest as much as everyone else. But at least the first book I want to give a fair read and see what I genuinely think of this first installment. Last one is Looking for Alaska from 2005 by John Green. Now I have mentioned in another video, I'm not sure if I will have posted it before or after this one, but it's my Unpopular Opinions book tag. John Green and Rainbow Rowell are two authors that I just have no interest in their stories, basically. It's not their fault. I have nothing against the author themselves, but their books have never pulled me in. But because they're both like quintessential to the BookTube, the growth of BookTube and BookTube conversation, I thought it would be not fair of me. The word is unfair, Taylor. It would be unfair of me to not put them in there, at least give them a shot to be pulled. So I picked Looking for Alaska from John Green's older books. Okay, so they're all in my Harry Potter cup. Ooh, my ring's making some noise, isn't it? So they're all in here, and I have to pull one for April. So let's mix this up really well and see what retro read I'm going to be doing for April. Oh, I dropped some. Oh, it looks like I will be reading The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. I'm not mad about this, but I do have a lot of books on my TBR this month for the Owls. This is a thick boy. Well, this is my own doing, so I can't do anything about it. So this is going to be the one I'm reading this month. The page count is the only thing I'm worried about, but I am excited to finally read this quintessential part of the fantasy genre, so I'll let you know how this goes, and as part of my wrap-up for April, I will include that book. That's going to be the end of this video. I look forward to reading one of these BookTube classics, BookTube babies, every month. And if you have one that you really want to root for, you really want me to read, go ahead and comment down below and explain why. And maybe you can convince me to put 2 paper slips, like with its name on it or something like that. So go ahead and let me know down below if there's one of those that you would really like to see me read. But for now, that's the end of this video, and I'm gonna head out. Janet!